podcast.
But you just do what you come to do now.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
Remember the national watchwords? Discipline.
Honor, respect.
No. Discipline, tolerance, and production. You remember that?
Yes, I can remember.
What is the national motto?
Together we aspire, together we achieve.
And what do you have to tell everybody today?
Happy Independence Day, everybody! Yeah, boy!
My party until it red, I'm dressing up in the red, white, and black. I don't care what nobody say. Every carnival I done there. Plus I know all artists and all the masks.
Yes!
Them say I'm a bad. I'm telling you where I'm from. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. As a Trini, proud Trini, a Trini. Cause they love how Trini does look. And they like how Trini does cook. And they like to hear Trini talk. And they like Trini woman walk. And we make good company.
I love this podcast.
Yeah, and we make good company.
All right, bye. That was the endorsement. Yes, you tell everybody Happy Independence Day.
Yes, I did before, but again, Happy Independence Day, everybody.
You know when is Independence Day?
Yes.
What is the date?
I forget the date.
The 31st of August. What year?
What year? 1990.
Boy, bye. Before your mother will come looking for me. 1962. You don't remember that?
I was about to say 1972.
Okay, bye. It was nice having you. Bye. Hey, let me do a proper intro because you see when the mother hear that, is me she will get vexed with it. I thought the man know them things. Full disclosure, I didn't realize there was little problems and things. Welcome to episode 65 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. Happy Independence Day, Trinidad and Tobago. To all Trinidadians and Tobagonians at home or abroad, wherever you are, happy Independence Day 59. We have one more year NIS to pay. After that, we collected. We're 1 year short of just collecting old age pension and paying up with foot a little bit. It's a great milestone, so we'll celebrate it together, right? This is how this episode will go. We have plenty of things to talk about, right? School opening back. Paula Weeks went for a VaxCR test. The two commissioners still fighting. However, we have a special independence message from the leader of the opposition. We have one boat sinking while one boat floating. You know what I mean? When one go, we balance as a nation, you know. There will be no slander of Trinidad and Tobago in this episode as we celebrate our independence. One boat go, but one boat is up. We're good to go. And from a sport perspective, well, CPL, TKR, there will be no slander of Trinidad and Tobago. A round of applause for the TKR, right? I mean, there will be no slander of any Trinidadian or Tobagonian national or anything to do with this country on our blessed 59th independence. And I will not bad talk all the people, all the men especially, who was getting moist because Cristiano Ronaldo is coming back to the Prem. I will not say anything bad because it's Independence Day and we're here to celebrate. So I really want to open this message with us. And well, wait, thanks for everybody who was watching on YouTube. I say all that already. Thanks for everybody. So YouTube, like, share, subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell. Awesome. And for everybody who listening, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Audible, TuneIn Radio, everywhere you get your podcast, right? You can find it. So thanks for everybody who's been tuning in, either listening or watching, and they subscribing. I appreciate that very much. So let me get into the couture now. The opposition leader, special message from the opposition leader. You know, it's so nice when you hear the leaders. We have great leaders as a country, you know. I just come here and I like to bad talk there and get them trouble and things, but we have great leadership and great stewardship in this country on both the opposition and the government side. So we had to big them up, and I appreciate, I see message from the opposition leader. I had to take that in, you know. Let me see if I could uplift myself in this, heading into this Independence Week. We celebrated independence all the way till Republic. So let me hear what great words we have here. While she is optimistic, this is from the Newsday, right? I just say Newsday reporter. So thanks, Newsday reporter. While she is optimistic that Trinidad and Tobago can overcome the challenge, well, you see, when people start with while they're optimistic, it's usually going downhill from there. But while she's optimistic that Trinidad and Tobago can overcome the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar in her Independence Day message criticized the government for the extension of the SOE. Oh, this is the direction we went in, Camps. this direction Camps took. The motion to extend the SOE. Oh, I really thought it was an independent. No, she had to say something like nation uplifting and nation building, because before this episode done, I'm going to play the top 5 nation building or independent songs. You could call it nation building. You could call it patriotic, independent songs about Trinidad and Tobago. The top 5 I'm going to play before this episode done. And during the course of the episode, I was sprinkling some honourable mentions. So, I mean, if the Calypsonians could give you a good little uplifting, patriotic message, it must have something in this article. Here at uplifting, she went on to say, nothing of the past can compare to what our citizens are being subjected. Oh, I thought it was going to go like nothing in the past, like we come so far. It's an insult to our constitution and the pioneers of our independence on Independence Day 2021. All citizens' rights are suspended for no good reason. No, man, it must have something good in here, man. Therefore, the executive arm has full authority to utilize emergency powers, but with good reason. No, this isn't getting no better. Therefore, this Independence Day is a solemn one. For whilst we mark 59 years as a nation, we do so with none of our constitutional rights and freedoms. I, however, remain confident. Right, this is the part I was looking for. I, however, remain confident in the collective will of our people to get through this dark period in our history. Oh God, there must be a clear plan to create jobs, revenue, and develop the right. All right, the UNC has prepared a plan that will ensure resilient economic recovery and growth, ensuring a rebounding economy. I mean, I thought we was going to get like some kind of uplift. All right, look at here. Today on the 59th, and forget everything I said before, right? We're starting from now. Today on the 59th anniversary of our independence, I call on each citizen to recommit to work, to rebuild, to restore, and to renew our great nation. We will face the challenges today as we have done in the past, side by side. United, we will overcome the challenges before us and rebuild and renew our nation. This is what we're talking about. This is what I was waiting to hear. I said, well, I mean, great leadership we have. I know we're going to get something to uplift. So I'm feeling very independent right now. I'm going to read that again because it's nice. It said today on the 59th anniversary of our independence, I call on each citizen to recommit to work, to rebuild, to restore, and to renew our great nation. We will face the challenges today as we have done in the past, side by side. United, we will overcome the challenges before us and rebuild to renew our nation. Thank you, Auntie Cams. We appreciate that message. It makes me feel very patriotic and Trinidadian. You know what I mean? It's just how we are as a people. As a people, we had a gay peacock. I think I just had to accept that is what it is. I come here and complain about the way politicians behave, but to be honest, that's the same way I behave. Because you see a partner you ain't seen a long time, you say, hey, where's he seen stupid man? You're really glad to see him. You know? You say, jokey man, where's he seen? That's what we do. Even though we're showing love, we have to get a little peacock with the love. It's just who we are. So she starts with the peacock because, I mean, it's the opposition leader, that is the prime minister, that is your political enemy. You had to throw some shots and like go some jabs and things first. And then you could come back to, sorry, I should not say jabs. You throw some shots, well, shots worse. You throw some peacock and you throw some talk first, and then you come back to something very nation building. It's just very Trinidadian and it's who we are. No matter what, we love one another, we unite, we like the little battle, we like the little fight and the peacock. But above all, as a country, We know when it's time to come together and when it's time to stop the play. If this now in the top 5. Yes?
Now the election back and I'll die away. In short, this is what I have to say.
Yes?
Let us forget spites and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate.
Why?
Because now more than ever we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand. People, this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah,
Yes? Sing!
Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build.
Yes?
And onward to progress we surely will. Because now more than ever we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land.
Come on, Rowley. Come on, Kamla.
And let us build a nation together.
One of the best, right? And it's not in the top 5. So, I want to smoke and no problems. I ain't seen no address from Rowley, right? So I carried that. As we done here talking about coming together and building a nation together, the two heads, so we see we getting Kamala and Rowley together, right? That consider that a work in progress. That's going to happen. But now we had to figure out how to get the current commissioner of police or acting commissioner of police and the former commissioner of police, Stephen Williams. We had to figure out how to get these guys together. A headline here in The Guardian by Rhonda Dowlat Rostand says 2 cops in war of words over FUL. We talked about this last week, right? So just as if you didn't listen last week, go back and listen, right? But Gary saying if people are allowed to carry firearms and people have their rights and he could apply by law, he can stop them and he could only approve people if they meet the criteria. Stephen Williams say Gary Griffith don't know what he's doing and he's done so much a gun crime already, and he's going to assume more and more firearms. So we have a gun problem, but you're going to give a man high-powered rifle, 2 pistols and all them kind of thing, while man shooting himself in the foot. So let's see who winning this war with. Rhonda Dowlat Rostand, right? A war of words has erupted between the acting police commissioner Gary Griffith, and keep in mind he only acting now because his term came to an end and he going through the re-election process, right, which I expect him to be back there, and his predecessor Stephen Williams, fueled by their differences of opinion over the issuing of firearm user licenses. The exchanges escalated after Williams in a radio interview described Griffith as an ignorant, narcissistic person. Ignorant and narcissistic. In response, the acting commissioner of police was critical of Williams' tenure at the helm of the TTPS, saying he said nothing, he did nothing, he was a total failure. Everything went upside down in the police service, and he has the audacity now to want to speak. He had like a little battle, you know. We like verses, so we had to deal with these verses with these two men, right? In an interview yesterday on I-95.5, Williams accused Griffith of spreading incorrect information about the issue in the FULs and said he didn't understand his role as the head of the TTPS. He knows nothing. He said, I hear the acting commissioner continuously saying that citizens of Trinidad and Tobago have the right to be armed. He's ignorant of the portfolio, and he's a narcissistic type person. It's all about him alone. Nobody should say anything, whether it makes sense or it don't make sense. Whether it's the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, the Law Association, whoever, he listens to nobody. And once you speak, he attacks. Get low. Everybody, listen, I should have warned all you. Shots going on fire. Everybody get low. Williams said his comments came one day after Griffith take aim at him during a TTPS media conference, criticizing the former COP of his objections to licenses being granted to individuals to own multiple weapons. You have a problem with law-abiding citizens carrying firearms, but you never said a word about 37,000 illegal firearms out there by cold-blooded killers. The tit-for-tat continued yesterday with Williams contending that no one is entitled to hold a gun in this country, but that Guy Griffith was going about saying once you qualified, you are entitled to hold a firearm. The law doesn't provide any entitlement to any firearm. So maybe I shouldn't be busting so much shots if that is the case. Williams said he should have spoken out within the last 3 years, but he didn't want a public battle with it. Well, clearly a gay public battle. Eh? In response, Griffith said for 6 years, Williams said nothing and he did nothing. He left 14% of the public support. He left with 14% public support of the police service because of his failures. I turned it from 14 to 39%. This man had over 3 decades of police experience, and someone of no experience was able to beat him in every single of 8 assessments coming and going. He further claimed he was a total disaster. He never wanted to speak to the media. No, all of a sudden he wants to speak. Listen. There's not supposed to be any slander in this episode. Eh? This is just supposed to be a celebration of our Trinidadianness. But like I say with Kamla versus Rowley before, these two men go and love one another. You know, this is just a little peak-on before. I expect that by the end of this week, or maybe the end of never, two of them will come out and apologize to one another and offer and say, boy, Gary, I didn't find it was so, and Stephen Williams will find out, so that'll never happen, right? But we as Independence Day, we're feeling happy and we're feeling upful. So I want to celebrate and thank our 2 commissioners of police, not just for the years of service in the police force for Stephen Williams as commissioner, and the years of service as commissioner for Gary Griffith, but also for the little entertainment. We bored in these streets. Netflix ain't showing nothing. You know what I mean? We talk for so much weeks about this man who shoots a few people shooting themselves and making mistakes on the range and them kind of thing. But I didn't realize that this was what the gun debate would have turned into, you know what I mean? I thought we was just debating on philosophical terms as to what is the best for the... No, actually, that is exactly what we're doing. All this is just a debate on philosophical terms to determine what is best for Trinidad and Tobago, because... Listen, you can't make none of this up, you know. In the midst of all this, 29th of August, an article come out. One man with FUL found with arsenal in vehicle and home. I don't know how this it's no coincidence. How this come up the same time they was dealing with 2 of them battling over who should have gun and who shouldn't have gun. Hear this, right? A man with a license to carry a firearm was arrested on Saturday after being found with a virtual arsenal at around 4:35 p.m. on a Saturday. Now again, I'm going back to my pharmacy guy who was running around the savannah with 2 guns, right? And here my issue. 4:35 p.m. on a Saturday. This is in daytime. Police officers attached to Komoto Highway Patrol were conducting road checks along the Churchill Roosevelt Highway on the eastbound lane, Maloney, when they searched a Ford Ranger driven by a 29-year-old man from Tunapuna. Keep that in mind, right? 29 years old. Now, salute to every 29-year-old, right? 29 is a great age and thing, you know what I mean? You're transitioning from your young adulthood to your hair losses and your fat gain and all them kind of things. Salute to you for being 29, right? open question for everybody, right? Is 29 a mature enough age to own a firearm? I don't know how much horn you get at 29. I don't know how much financial hard times you had at 29. I know how much you and your brother and your family fall out and all they fight over land and them kind of thing. I know how much your parents and them fall out with you and they put you out of the house and all. I don't know how much adverse life experience you have, how much adversity you face at 29 years old to be able to own a firearm. I think that at that age, and I'm using my gauge at 29, right? I think at 29, I was way too immature. And I would be a danger to myself and other people because when I start to see hard times and tobacco and them kind of things, so my firearm might have get good use. But anyway, 29 years old, driving a Ford Ranger, the police officers found a Glock 45 pistol, a Glock 17 pistol, a Glock 43X pistol, a Sig Sauer P320 pistol, a Sig Sauer MPX semi-automatic machine gun, and different types of ammunition. Police obtained a search warrant for the man's house and found a shotgun. So this is in the car, right? So in his motor car that he's driving around with, 29 years old, just for reference, if he's 29 years old, what year you born? You born in like 1990 or something? 2000, what year you born? Yeah, he born in the 90s. I was just checking to see if he born any cool, you know what I mean? The man like guns a lot. In his car alone, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 different types of guns. 4 pistols and 1 semi-automatic gun. That's the way you run around with a car. What are you protecting so at 29 years old? What is you had to protect? What going wrong? And I didn't see them say whether this was legal, illegal, or what. I'm not sure if the license he has covers all this. I don't know. Police obtained a search warrant for the man's house and found a shotgun, 22 caliber rifle, 5.56 caliber rifle, more ammunition exceeding the amount he was authorized to carry. Now, this is all the article said, right? And listen to the last sentence the way it written. They obtained the search warrant and they found the shotgun, the 22 caliber rifle, the 5.56 caliber rifle, and more ammunition exceeding the amount he was authorized to carry. I do not know if that means that all these guns were legal and he was just carrying more ammunition than he's supposed to carry. Because from my understanding, in the FUL booklet itself, it's tell you, all right, you're licensed to carry a Glock 19 and you could carry 30 rounds of ammunition or whatsoever the thing might be, whatever the amount is. So is it that this man had a license for all this and he only get arrested? Well, assuming he get arrested too. Is it that the only issue was that he had too much ammunition? And I'm asking that because I want to know if this man was issued a license to have so many guns at 29 years old. That's just my question, because I don't know that. I mean, salute to you. You might be much more mature than I was as a young man and them kind of thing. But at 29 years old, let me say you give him one pistol. So if push comes to shove and he defend himself, because I don't know what kind of assets he have. Everybody life different, right? But this little arsenal, this little bounty of weapons he have here, how necessary that could possibly be at 29 years old? I'll leave in that question. But still, thanks to the police who intervened in this situation and will look into it. So I just want Gary Griffith and Stephen Williams to remember that while all you're battling one another, this is some of the realities that all the policemen facing on the street, right? So I don't know what's the solution we're going to come to, because at some point we had to make a decision as a society. Who are we? Are we the states or different states in the US where we just open carry and it's just how much ever guns you want you could buy and just carry them because we have a right to carry it? Or are we just a minimal amount of firepower to protect your home and your person? Or are we, eliminate guns and we have no guns, kind of like the UK style? And we had to decide what we want to be. We're 59 years old and he's a big boy now. We have to pull up with big boy pants and decide which direction we're going with as a society. And I am putting myself out here to say, you see, this thing with this amount of gun a man had to have, this can't be it. At 29 years old, so the driver's license have an age. What's the age limit for weapon? Is 18 too? Nah, I don't want to. I'm comfortable with a little 19-year-old hot-head, hasty little youth man who ain't live nothing in life, and you don't have no children, you don't know what you living for, to be walking around with one weapon, much less this man on 9 so far and more ammunition than he needs to have. What is you planning so youth, man? And to be honest with you, if I had to answer my own question, I grew up in a house in St. James, and I know all you grew up so too. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably grew up in that area too, where you didn't even have to lock your door. Burglar proof was nothing at all. Burglar proof coming in late. But you didn't have to lock up your door and feel like you had to lock yourself in your place, or even reaching as far to the point where you had to study who have gun. We grew up in a time where only police had gun. When it had criminals with gun, it was a big thing back then. It was a huge. I prefer to live in a Trinidad where nobody don't have to carry no gun. And if you're listening to this and you grew up in Tobago, once again, where it was a certain amount of freedom and safety and trust we had for one another, and it's just the way we live. So to come to a society where the question we had to be asking ourselves is how much weapons we should allow. You know what I mean? It's a funny question when you watch what them two commissioners arguing about. You know, both of them arguing about how much weapons people should really be allowed to have. When the deeper question had to be why we need weapons in the first place, why we can't live a life that harmonious enough and trusting enough and open enough where nobody don't feel like to pick up a gun to come and rob people. It's make you wonder, like, with all the technology and the things that we progress with and our elevated way of thinking and stuff, we going real backward in a way as we go forward. You know, at 59, when we was 30 and them kind of thing, we wasn't studying who had gun and who. It was just a life where it was simpler, easier, but much safer, where we could have play and go anywhere. Look at these stories I tell on this podcast about St. James. I know St. James is the best place to have in Trinidad and Tobago, but wherever you grew up in this country, you have stories about your own childhood where you used to roam. You know your village, you know your neighborhood, you know everybody around, and you go and come sort of as you please. You know what I mean? You still have to respect your parents and the little curfew time and them things to reach home, but more or less you go and you play. We used to play jockey in the river. You go and you play football, cricket, fly kite, go. It was just a simpler society. Imagine that at 59, the question we asking ourselves is how many guns we should be allowed. Late great.
Live like brothers, respected one another. In times gone by, we used to share. Together we'd make do. And if I draw a susu, DSS will pay you. I know them days done pass and gone. And I know that life must carry on. What if I must join in with the pack? Yes, I'm going back. I'm going back, yeah. Back to the old time days. back to them old time ways. I know everything must change, but I still love the old time days. Yes, bring back the old time days. Yes, bring back them old time days. Hey, great farmer. Him now, Farmer Nappy. Hey, you see, hey, we 59, you know. 59, you can look at a long slip of the memory, right? Happy Myers, rest in peace. Hey, as we talking jokes, when you talk about Paula May, now, Paula May, what you do? You get vaccinated or you get PCR test? Let me know. We want to know the truth. We want to know the truth. The people want to know. This is one of the stranger things I seen in a long time ago, because I started to see a tweet getting circulated around, right? And salute to the people at MYOB, because MYOB don't miss nothing. Them is only screenshot and screenshot. I don't know who running MYOB page and how them had so much time when the day come. Or they making good money from that page too, you know, because somebody dedicated to that 24. MYOB.ent_ on Instagram. They say, in case you missed it, New York City Health Hospital Kings, I guess the hospitals in Kings County, welcome the president to our doors. So it's a welcome the president of Trinidad and Tobago, Paula May Weeks, into our doors to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Our hospital leadership team greeted the President Weeks and company while she waited to get her vaccine. Listen, there will be no slander of any Trinidadian or Trinidad and Tobago national for the entirety of this episode. But Paula, something right here. There's more in the mortar than the pestle. Something rotten in the state of Denmark. I can't understand how a hospital Twitter page for a dignitary, a president nonetheless, who come into that entourage, they would have been pre-alerted that you have the president, a diplomatic situation. I watch Grey's Anatomy, you know. You'd be alerted that a diplomat is coming in, president of the republic and so on. And you come in and do the thing, right? I don't know. So I don't know that hospital have a Twitter page that, or a social media person that's so loose that when a president come into the doors of the hospital, nobody is vetting what they put out. And you could make a mistake like this, because this mistake is a real problem to the vaccination drive. I'm not sure. And you know, it's just one of them things with COVID overall. Because for the entirety of COVID, and I think it's something that people not appreciating. Just put yourself in people's shoes for a minute, right? The varying levels of information that you're getting, and the fact that this works well and then it doesn't work well a couple months later, it really has more to do with the fact that this is new and the experts are learning as they go along as fast as they could, and they're making the adjustments that are necessary to help us protect ourselves, right? Let me put it like that. But you had to appreciate, if you put yourself in the next man's shoe now, who looking for a conspiracy, or who genuine, and forget the conspiracy theorist thing, because if a man is a conspiracy theorist, you can't change their mind just so. Think of the person who genuinely scared or feel like is the mark of the beast, or whatever is the number of reasons, or is poison, or whatever is the number of reasons that people have for not taking the vaccine, right? They say we're not going to need no mask, right? Mask not going to help you with this thing. And then eventually, Fauci is one of them men, you know, they say maybe we're going to need a mask, and then maybe double up with the mask, and then after a while, you need no mask after you're vaccinated. But say, if you're vaccinated, still better you wear a mask in certain states. There's been a lot of situations like that. Now, I appreciate that for what it is. That don't really bother me too much. I depend on the experts almost exclusively. It's real simple for me, you know. If a pipe busts by me, it's a fella, I call him Joshua. Salute to my guy Joshua. Once I call Joshua is come and tell me what happened. I can't tell Joshua what went on, because I don't know enough. I watching. All I know is the pipe leaking. When Joshua come, he said, nah, that's the thing, this other thing. I said, Joshua, how much it will cost me? What I need to do? If it's too much money, I said, Joshua, there's a cheaper solution to this. Let me do something else. He said, all right, here what, you could do this, fix it in a while. But if I come back again on that, so we had to go with the more expensive solution. It really that simple to me, because I don't know nothing about that. And the amount of years and studies he put in to be able to do what he's doing, and tools and equipment and all that, I'm not willing to make that investment. So I know that they have people who go on YouTube and learn to do a little plumbing themselves, but I am just saying I am not that guy. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the
patience for that. And I honestly believe I don't have like the predisposition or the skill to be able to do it either. And before I fubar the whole plumbing in the house and have to find somewhere to live, I could just call Joshua. And it's very much the same with medical situations. To me, when I go by the doctor, I remember I went for ECG at time in Sinclair. It was for some insurance thing, right? Nothing wasn't wrong. So I wasn't worried or nervous or anything. You know, sometimes you go by the doctor, you're sick, you're worried about what information, what kind of diagnosis you get. I was cool. I just went for the insurance purposes, must be the full medical thing. So listen, I wait a little while in, not Sinclair, West Shore. I wait a little while in the lobby. And then when you go into the room with the machine, he put me to lie down and put a certain thing on my chest. And you know how the ECG thing is go, right? And the room was a little bit darkish, to be honest. So the way it's called, the medical technician, he do all that stuff first. And then he tell me the doctor will come in to check on it in a few minutes, whatever. The doctor come in, right? And he check and he say, okay, the rhythm looking good. I gonna sound like a real fool here. But the rhythm looking good and that good pace, you know what I mean? Nice little tempo, flow good, whatever you say about heart when you see it. He watching on the screen, right? And after a while I hear him say, Mr. Shepherd, you don't want to see your heart. Why is like, why you want to see my heart? For I want my heart on the inside. I don't want to see my heart. I was halfway falling asleep. Why you say, well, what's seeing it for? It good. If you say it good, it's good. I don't know what I am looking at. I don't know. I suppose it's nice to see, right? And anybody who feel like they're more interested, that they want to go and know how heart is work, all power to you. But I only want to know 2 mode of heart. Beaten or stop. I can't learn what a doctor learn in this little short space of time. So I just listen to what the men say. So if them say wear mask tomorrow, I wear a mask. If they say don't bother to wear no more mask, I wear no more. It's really that simple for me. But when the leaders do things like this, because I myself personally was saying that, listen, when the borders open back, I go and find myself a Pfizer or Moderna. Salute to Pfizer too, because that's the first vaccine that they're showing us fully approved now. And I saw several releases earlier in the year, and I spoke about it on the podcast too, where they said the mixing of vaccine is very little risk, right? They said that, then they pulled it back a few times, so they wasn't too sure about it. So when I saw that mixing of vaccines is not risk, I said, boy, whatever they have here, I'm going to try and take that. And if I get opportunity to take one of the 2 preferred or better vaccines, let me call it that, right? For lack of a better term, Pfizer or Moderna. When the time come, I will go with that. So I know that there are quite a few people who said that it was an experimental vaccine and all that. I wonder if their mind changed now a little bit, now that they see Pfizer is fully approved. Because the uptake on Pfizer for the youth, I thought it was real good because, and I guess I was just judging by the initial lineup and the fact that they use small venues, maybe venues that are too small for it. But now you're starting to hear where not enough children vaccinated, and Dr. Rowley had some things to say about that. I'll get to that, right? But when Paula May Weeks go out there, and then the people say, you come for a vaccine, and they say in the post and thing, did they say it was Pfizer? No, they didn't say which vaccine it was. They just say you come and get a vaccine. I know that if you go in the King's Hospital, you ain't getting in King's County, you ain't getting no Sinopharm and Sputnik and AstraZeneca. You ain't getting them thing, right? It's either Pfizer or Moderna, I would assume. But she was already fully vaccinated, and I don't know if she. I just find it didn't look good. Maybe it's a real mistake on the hospital part. Where I find that hard to believe is people is beyond the P's and Q's when it comes to dignitaries coming in the place, and people don't really make them kind of mistakes. So as people say, it could be just a social media person who put it out and they really genuinely make a mistake. And Paula may come out and say she didn't take that. She had to do the PCR test just like everybody else coming into the country. He had to present a PCR test. Even that I find president. Well, okay, so if the president do a PCR test and let's say it's positive, what happens next on re-entry? Does she have to stay where she is? Does she have to come home and quarantine? What happens to see her security detail? The whole entourage. What was the plan at that point in time? Well, if Rowley going away, he had to take a PCR test before he come back and make sure that he good. To what end? Is it that you know how you're going to isolate when you come home, or is it that you're going to stay where you are? I doubt you're staying where you are, right? But all right, Paula, you get the benefit of the doubt. You say it's a PCR test, and the hospital did come out and apologize for the confusion, and they said themselves that it was a mistake. But mistakes like those has caused people to be even more doubtful and hesitant. And they say now people dead sure that the leaders taking nice vaccine and they gain with the vaccine and them that they don't want. So, I mean, salute to Paula. I glad to hear you in great health. I remember just the other day, because I tell myself the other day, she say, I don't want nobody unvaccinated around me. I say, well, this woman about 5 vaccine, like she gonna take all just to make sure. But again, we go in with the story that is a PCR test, right? We go in with that. No conspiracy. Don't let that stop you. Try your best and get vaccinated, because I see a situation in Jamaica that I don't think we would want to run into at all. They're showing you scenes in Montego Bay in Jamaica where the hospital is overloaded. The crash of the healthcare system. We've seen it live. Trinidad and Tobago at 35% vaccination at this point, right? Jamaica is showing us at 4% at the time of recording this. So there seems to be a much higher level of vaccine hesitancy in Jamaica than here. And somebody, you seeing it on Instagram and things like they were talking to Buju the other day about Buju basically telling people they're sheep and all them. This normal rhetoric they hear about vaccine versus non-vaccine. But whatever it is, the hospital is it Mandeville or Montego Bay? One of them hospitals I saw, where totally overwhelmed. People laying down in what looking like a lobby on a mattress with what, you know, some tubes and things. It ain't even looking like it connected to nothing, to be honest with you. It's a scary side. I really don't want us to ever come to that point in Trinidad, like what we would have seen in Italy and New York, and well, we've seen a little bit now in Mandeville, either Mandeville or Montego Bay in Jamaica. And it was a doctor who posted something that was even, it made me think about it even more. Because she was saying that we have no more oxygen on the island, no more oxygen in the hospitals. And the first thing I think when you say no more oxygen is that COVID patients go and suffer. We see what happened with that if you can't get a ventilator already, right? We see that here. But she went on to say that means anybody who gets a C-section, it has no oxygen. People who have lupus, no oxygen. People who dealing with dialysis, no oxygen. So whatever you may need oxygen for if you're in an emergency, in any situation in the hospital, they don't have none. And that's the kind of messages without the fear mongering behind it. That's the messages we had to get across to people over. It's like, listen, when you take up a hospital bed due to COVID, something that you could get vaccinated for and prevent yourself from ending up in hospital for, you're robbing the system as a whole. It's not just other COVID patients. The whole system could be affected. So, I mean, thank God we are 35%. We're not at 4% like Jamaica. So it shows some signs or some things. But the vaccine hesitancy is real. People not getting vaccinated at the rate we thought they would have been vaccinated by now. And we also seeing where is an issue with the opening back of schools. Because I saw the PM coming out and saying now that only vaccinated children will be back at school. Well, I mean, I wanted to tell him at that point in time, listen, better you say that, because a man like me, if I was back in the day, and I know all I had to do to not go back to school is not get vaccinated, I wasn't getting no shot. But he says only pupils who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 will be allowed back into classrooms for face-to-face classes from October 1st. So I guess the new day is October 1st. They were talking about September, but that seemed to be out the door. This date, the government hopes, this is the day the government hopes to bring out secondary school pupils in forms 4, 5, and 6. So that is it. That is the only people that answer some of my questions I had last week. That is the only people who coming back out. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley made the announcement yesterday, even as he expressed frustration with the low number of eligible school children who have been vaccinated to date. The Ministry of Health began the rollout of the Pfizer vaccine, the only COVID-19 vaccine approved by the World Health Organization to be administered to children ages 12 and older. That was August 18th. So that's where we are. He said only about 25% of the roughly 90,000 eligible children in the school population have been vaccinated. So that's where we are at this point. Only about 25% of the 90,000 students who are eligible to take it have taken it. So again, it's better than 4%, but it's lower than the overall rate at 35%. So the same thing I was thinking about last time, where I was wondering, if people hesitant for themselves, how hesitant will they be for their children? So we're seeing that the overall population is at 35%, but the school population at 25%. That moving a little slower. But I hope that change in quick time. because something had to be done. But again, we're here to celebrate Trinidad and Tobago, so we're grateful to everybody who went out and get vaccinated and who fully vaccinated, who are one dose. And Johnson & Johnson here, I think I read somewhere as well this week where the uptake on Johnson & Johnson was real low too. I want to say it's like timing more than anything else, because we had so many other options for vaccines before that most of the people who wanted to get vaccinated probably done fully vaccinated already, so it wouldn't have matter where you bring. I suppose if you bring Pfizer for adults, or if the next 75% of the children don't take the Pfizer, will they open it up for adults now who prefer to get a branded vaccine? Or I don't want to say branded like to minimize it, right? But who prefer to get the only approved WHO vaccine? Will that help? Because if that's the case, then free it up and let people go and get it, I would think. All right, another much better news, right? I see Machel Montano is planning out his melee cruise. So melee is back on in these streets. I'm happy to see that. But I guess it's more reason for people to get vaccinated, I suppose, because I saw some kind of thing like that going to come out for this cruise. But I see Michael Mondesi on the 30th of August writing, Machel Montano, that's in the Express, right? Machel Montano's soca cruise ship party melee will make for dry land. What? Wait, hold on. I know I can't read so well. Machel Montano's soca cruise ship party melee will make for dry land in 2022. I don't understand what I mean by make for dry land. Like there's the water taxi, or why the boat on dry land? The event billed as Carnival at Sea will now take place at the all-inclusive. Oh, they're doing it somewhere else. Oh. I thought it was a cruise and they're gonna do. All right, okay. I go in this, I ain't care. The event billed as Carnival at Sea will now take place at the all-inclusive Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico, from April 28th to May 2nd next year. Event spokesperson Kim Curtin said on Friday, "All you are going this, we going, Stacey. Pack your bags. We in this." Originally scheduled for earlier this year, the party cruise, a collaboration between Machel Montano and Mass Band Tribe, was postponed following the effects of resulting restrictions caused by the COVID-19 global pandemic. After months of derailments and logistical challenges, Curtin said her committee was happy to announce to concerned ticket holders wait, now that means it's only people who had the tickets. I wonder if they're selling tickets for this. Let me see what happened here. Let me take this serious. I thought this was a topic we just passing through, but this gets serious. Several patrons have expressed concerns over refunds during the last 12 months. I hope they refund all of them. Events and entertainment, as we know it, have undergone massive change, and innovation is the key to enjoying longevity. I just want to see what tickets selling. Montano first announced Melee as the successor event to Machel Monday concert series at the 10th and final installment. We want to see all that. We want to see what he's seen with tickets. Last Tuesday, Montano appeared via a video recording on the Melee Cruise Instagram account to personally assure fans that the event will take place on 2022, albeit on land. I go and see. Let me see if I could find this, because I find like a little excited. Let me see what he's saying here.
Where we going? When we going? Where my drum roll? Destination number 1. The first Melee Destinations getaway takes us to Cancun, Mexico. Yeah, we're taking it from ship to shore, from cruise to Cancun. The all-inclusive getaway of a lifetime with me, my friends, and you awaits us in May 2022.
Find out.
From Tuesday, April 20th to Monday, May 2nd, we're heading to Moon Palace, Cancun. Our paradise oasis for 4 nights. Food, fed, fun, and freedom included. The sunrise is ours. Who ready?
I not. Let me see what else is saying here, because whatever, I just announced this one time, right? Whatever day that is in 2022, it had no podcast that day. Again, only advance notice. Find something else to do that Tuesday, because there will be no Corey Shepherd podcast in that week. Let me see if the experts say anything else about this, boy. They ain't saying if you're getting tickets to sell. They say at this time, vaccination isn't mandatory for patrons, but as we prioritize the safety of all unvaccinated persons can expect more testing and stricter protocol. I think people who are unvaccinated know they had to go through that already. That done settled. What I'm not seeing here, because the cruise, if I'm not mistaken, was sold out. So 2 things I want to find out. They have tickets on sale for this thing, and where to find it. As soon as I'm done recording, I go and find them. And I'm not understanding because on the Instagram it's saying destination number 1 is Cancun. And if they're going there for 4 days, they're going somewhere else after that because I ain't going back on that boat, you know. When that 4 days that I'm flying home. And it seemed to be like they're taking the cruise to go Cancun. So it's plenty of questions. I don't know where they're leaving from. And then they go, oh, I suppose if they're leaving from Miami, is Miami to Cancun and go back? Ew. It seemed the cruise industry be ready for internet cruise on the high seas at that time. We're ready for us in 2022. All right, so details to come. This is a story you're following. And the week after that, I'll get a review for how the melee thing was. Because I wasn't so sure. I don't really like the cruise thing too much, you know. I went on one cruise in my life. I see how it was a little bit of a thug cruise. It was a little bit gangsterish and I was uncomfortable. And then I see in my car getting smaller and smaller. And the cruise leaves Chagaramas and heading back down to by the water taxi, like by Hyatt side there. And I thinking to myself, only passing my house, I only passing St. James. I could come out here and swim and go home. And I had to wait to go back for my car. I didn't like that. So much less on a big cruise where I had to go island to island. I ain't so sure if I like cruising that much, but for sure. I like the song of that Mele thing. I don't like Cancun already, so Mele get no money. I was talking about boat that turned into land. Somehow, one of the first things we see come out on the Monday morning this week, bright and early, is the Carnival Runner water taxi is sinking. A massive effort is now underway to stop the Carnival Runner, one of the nation's 4 water taxis, from sinking in the Gulf of Paria near San Fernando Harbor, where it's now being docked. Preliminary reports say that the passenger ship began taking on water over the weekend, and when workers arrived the morning, they saw the ferry tilted with the back partially submerged. CNC cameraman Ivan Tulsi obtained exclusive footage. What is saying he cameraman exclusive footage for? You take that footage, the man was doing that on everybody see the little clip. Somebody went up on the, what is it called, a jetty or whatever you call it, and take the clip. Everybody see that. But the water taxi is sinking. It's a boy, listen, nothing to no, I'm not supposed to say nothing bad about Trinidad. This is Trinidad, so boats sink sometimes. According to Stacy this morning, PNM Stacy, boats sink. Boats sink from time to time. There's nobody to blame for that. So Mele up, but the water taxi down. And as the day progressed, we started to hear that ship already was given some problems. I didn't know nothing about that. But that ship apparently was given trouble before and was already being used for parts. So, I mean, I hope they could salvage it. It's not a nice thing to see, you know. We were talking about the towers or poles, whatever the thing is by TNTech. I sure I didn't have that right yet. Coming down the other day. And monumental things, and I find the water taxi became one of those monumental things too. Like, we never really let go, even though we got the Beauport and several fast ferries after that, we never really let go the Panorama exactly because of how iconic it was as part of our history as Trinidad and Tobago, and especially because it's connect Trinidad and Tobago too. And I find like the water taxi became one of those things. Like, I use the water taxi pretty often. At one point when I just came back from Jamaica, I was working in South and still live in St. James. I used to take the water taxi every morning. It was a better mode of transport. It was, you could sleep on the way down. That was the best part. And then a few times when I find myself in traffic, them days used to still have a lot of traffic on the highway. Like, when I started working in San Fernando, they didn't build that overpass they had yet. They had to go by the traffic light. You remember the traffic light by Grand Bazaar or Nestle Compound or whatever you want to call it? And that traffic, you could have sit down in 45 minutes or hour traffic just to turn to head south, if people could remember. So the water taxi came in and was a real relief. I used to take that water taxi and cruise and go down the road, no problems. I ain't worried about it. Or the big bus too, you know, the big coach. Them things used to be a little smooth sailing, man, no set of problems. And I always find that the water taxi was a beacon for service in Trinidad and Tobago. It was one of the best customer service experiences you could ever get. And to see one of them sink, it was just a little bit of a sad feeling this morning. It is sink. Up to the time I saw it on Monday morning, it was tilted like one side of the boat up in the air. If you want to see it, check CNC3 Instagram page or MYOB, any one of them, and they had the information on it. So I hope they're able to stop it from sinking so that it remains something. I don't know what it is about aquatic museum. I don't know where it's doing things, because if it's at the relic, I hope it's not the relic, but if it's at the relic and they're just using it for parts and stuff, it would be nice if those things could be preserved somewhere, so that more and more generations could see. You know, me and the preserving of Trinidad and Tobago history, we don't do such a good job at it at all. So salute to the people who trying their best to do the work to bring back that carnival runner. This song had nothing to do with that. I just remember this song. Yes?
If Trinidad is a boat sailing on the earth, I go sail on it. Oh Lord, I go sail on it. Whether it fast or slow,
Yes?
wheresoever it goes, I go in with it. Oh Lord, I go in with it. I go sail when the tide is low. I go sail when the tide is near. If she going to hell and back, I go make the trip.
Oh Lord,
to make the trip. I sailing with the boat, sink or float. I sailing with the boat. I sailing with the boat, sink or float. I sailing with the boat. Through hurricane and storm, hell or high water come. And when she need a push, I go in a push like bush. Trinidad is a boat. I go sail on it, sink or float.
They for the two boats, a sailing on the Melee and a sailing on the water taxi.
I have under scrutiny who plotting mutiny, and I'm watching them. I say I'm watching them. Who giving the captain lip, and all who abandon ship.
Yes?
And I'm marking them. I say I'm marking them.
Sing!
Stowaways, keeping free passage. Castaways, with excess baggage. Crimson pirates, moving in to kill. But I'm sailing still. I'm sailing still. I'm sailing with the boat, sink or float. I'm sailing with the boat. I'm sailing with the boat, sink or float. I'm sailing with the boat. Through hurricane and storm, hell or high water come. And when she needs a push, I go in a push like bush. If Trinidad is a boat, I go sail on it, sink or float.
Hey, it's a celebration of Trinidadians kind of day, you know. So I want to read a quick article, quick. A guy by the name of Machel Lovelace. I wonder if people know the name, or I wonder if they know the guy father. I don't know the man father. You know the name Machel Lovelace? You know the name Earl? So, Machel Lovelace has beaten his own drum into modern art history. Lovelace's 2021 painting Nyabinghi Drummers has been added to the permanent collection of Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles, California, USA. The San Fernando-born artist is the first Trinidad and Tobago creative to be included in the museum's world-famous contemporary art collection. Lovelace, 52, says his paintings hanging in the Mocha's halls not only validates the consistency of his efforts over the past decades, but also indicates a new vested interest from international collectors in the region's artistic works. I love it. He says the acquisition of my 2021 painting Nyabinghi Drummers can be seen as an acknowledgement of the works I've been doing over the last decade, but it also speaks to the fact that international art institutions in the arts world in general is paying more attention to visual arts made in this region. The son of acclaimed author Earl Lovelace says he hopes this growing interest brings more artists who live and work in the Caribbean into the expanding global conversation on the arts. You know, we take the time the other day to celebrate the life of Leroy Clark. And one of the things I was saying in that episode, and every episode where we celebrate any one of our legends, one of the things I would like us to do is things like this, where we celebrate the living legends we have, like Machel Lovelace. If I remember right? I was a little fella, but the first time I heard the name Machel Lovelace was associated with surfing. Somebody got to remind me if I'm right or wrong about that. But I had known him as being a big surfer back in the day. He's the only name I know in his. I didn't know any other name in the surfing world other than Che Lovelace, but I hope I'm right about that. So it's good to see. I didn't know what he was up to and stuff and what he was working on at this time. But if you want to read the full article, it's in the Express on the 28th of August. It's a nice way to celebrate the independence when our artists, our legends out there, living legends, young legends, 52 years old. And you hear what the man said, this is one of the things, this is my mantra now in life. You see consistency, nothing to beat consistency. As a young fella, I used to like motivation and real effort and discipline and words like that. These days, the word I'm rolling with is consistency. Once you show up often enough, you hear what you're talking about, a decade of consistency to get this kind of recognition in his work. So I'm happy for him overall, man. And as I'm making a list of songs here that have to do with the greatness of Trinidad, this is one that I have on my list. It's not exactly a song about Trinidad. I mean, it's kind of about Trinidad, though. But it's one of the greatest artists we have. And I want to lively this one to the great Che Lovelace and to everybody else who working on something. Keep this in mind, right? Yes? It's a happy independence. Yes? Lyrics somewhere.
So the treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So no foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain.
They say no more will we see happy times again. But in the will to recover in my people I have confidence.
Although many may seem to feel like I
Talking nonsense.
but the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time
to show we patriotism. Sing! From our country facing its darkest hour, and our people needs us today more than ever. Back in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just make one more try, life could be much sweeter. Yes?
From the time we analyze just what was the problem, yes, we start making very positive moves to solve them. We fire the old set of managers we had working, and it's a new group we went and they bring in. And if the goods we require, them new managers not supplying.
Yes?
When election time come back wrong, it's new ones we bring in. But if it's one thing about my people, I go here and
Hear my line.
that they would
never put party over country, because we country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever.
But in our fight to recover,
If ever you feel to surrender, you got one little thing that I want you always remember. Don't forget,
we could make it if we try,
just a little harder.
if we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter. treasury was full and happy time some was enjoying.
Yes.
It's in Mova and Laventine poor people was living. Now the treasury flat and the country come back to square one. Poor people remain on the same old ghetto in John. But to get the economy return today on some footing. It's the same poor people 10 days and cola they're taking. And without social unrest, poor people paying the price. Because they know for the country, nothing too much to sacrifice. Yeah. And if the country facing its darkest hour, so our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, give up one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter.
Hey, listen, that's for everybody. You celebrating the country, but you see that song? Anything you're working on, you're gonna get through with it. Anything you're pursuing, that is yours already. Just listen to what Stalin said. That is one of these songs. I will share something with Oli, right? When I was doing exams and things back in the day, and anybody who went through, whether it's business thing or exams or whatever you're working on in life, your fitness, whatever it is, it's hard. It's no joke hard. And everybody who accomplished something could tell you how hard it is. Like sometimes you're watching the end result and people don't know how much work you put in and how much tears you shed. You know, a gym instructor told me that one time. You know. He said, listen, if sweat is the only bodily fluid you're losing, you ain't working hard enough. So anything you achieve, the amount of sweat and tears and passion and thing you put into that and how much you doubt yourself and feel like you ain't gonna make it and thing. You see that song now? That song always uses, it had 3 songs. It's always make me feel like I could go one step further. That is one. When I listen to it, I'm a pause reason. You know. The second one is a song called Do Good by Mighty Shadow. I'm going off track here. I'm planning to finish an hour and a half, but it just comes to me with that song is make me feel inspired. So I'm going to talk about it. You see that song Do Good by Mighty Shadow? Almost every episode, for the first must be 25 episodes, I listened to that song about 100 times before I start recording each episode. I ain't playing it in this episode. One day I'll play it because the songs make me emotional. But that song is what drive me to be able to record that podcast every week. All when I didn't like how it's sung in, I find that talking, I don't know if it's interesting enough. I don't know if nobody listening, if people enjoying it. I don't know. Every time I come here, I feel like I have enough topic to talk about. What I'm going to say it. I don't know if it's funny. I don't know if, you know, that song, I used to listen to that and that used to push me through. You see, that song, Black Stalin, Make It If You Try, Shadow Do Good. And a song called Sizzler, make a song, I think it's Holding Firm. You can't keep a good man down. Listen, I listen to that song hundreds of times. Almost every exam I do in UE, I used to listen to that song over and over and over again just to get myself up there. But that had nothing to do with nothing what we come to talk about. We come to celebrate the independence of Trinidad and Tobago, right? And as we talk in Trinidad and Tobago, let me celebrate our night riders now, because the night rider, if you look at the table, right? Right now, Bravo gone, right? So, you know, it says it's franchise cricket. So we're celebrating Bravo being at the top of the table with the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, unbeaten under Bravo stewardship. We're celebrating that first because that is Trini too. And it's we independent, so we're celebrating St. Kitts and Nevis. We also celebrating Paula with, the thing about it is this. We play 3 games and we lose 2, right? And that might sound like it bad, but the thing is, when you look at the table for CPL, It's a green ball showing you win and a red ball showing you loss. And I think that the two losses, the two red ball that we have, is really in signifying the independence of Trinidad and Tobago. One ball for each island. You know what I mean? So I think we in lost in no more games. According to Paula, we have a long way to go. It's a long tournament. One thing, Paula is song very confident. You know, whether he win or loss, he have a kind of monotone style he's talk with. He don't have a song too happy. He don't have a song too sad. He just song serious. And I ain't like the way it looking so far. I being honest, I ain't like the way it looking. But so far, St. Kitts on top, Jamaica second, and CPL is the only tournament in the world where you could lose 2 out of your 3 game and you still third and well primed for a playoff spot, because Guyana still somehow find a way below we. And then Barbados and St. Lucia bringing up the rear. But salute to Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to dominate the CPL. I'm hoping for a CPL win again. I'd be glad for the little CPL games any day, right? Because the sports, I think, for fellas in particular, we need the little sports ladies to carry me through this little COVID time. Just being able to see some sports in the day, although you're working from home and things, you can take in a little CPL while you're working, or EPL on a weekend. Them things getting me through the COVID times. When you don't have no sports, I feel like you're getting extra depressed. So it's nice to be able to come out by 10 o'clock in the morning and have a little sport going on. But it is so nice when we get in lecture. But by the time you're hearing this on Independence Day, we're beating up St. Lucia. Outright. We can't. Pollard is Independence Day. Everybody gonna be wearing red. People looking forward to something. It's a holiday. Everybody home watching the match. You're behind closed doors too. Apparently some of the games over there behind closed in St. Kitts, the whole tournament playing, right? Maybe that was the plot. Why they give away Bravo? To make sure that the home team have a big advantage. But anyway, we on our Independence Day, my brother. You don't have any crowd to worry about, no home crowd, no advantage, or nothing. You're playing in front of an empty stadium, but the whole of Trinidad and Tobago will be watching you. So congratulations in advance to Pollard for beating St. Lucia on Independence Day, and we coming through the gate there. And from here on, is as you say, is only up to go from there, and we have it. In other sports news, some dude gone to some side. And there's a whole uproar, everybody in. You know, the fantasy football start off nice. I tell myself, all right, my team doing a little good. Now, men are to study if to buy back Ronaldo and put on the... Well, it's a given, right? I think everybody going to buy back Ronaldo and put on the side. But I'm sorry for the Manchester City fans. Maybe next week I'll play a song for you, be United versus City people. This is Trinidad independence we're celebrating. So I'm really here to celebrate Keston Julian being in the Premier League. I'm here to celebrate the end of Angus Eve's contract and hopefully renewal. So he got a new contract. I think the end of his contract is Independence Day. Last day in August should be the end of his contract. But things went wild with another coach at Pep Guardiola last week. Pep Guardiola, in 1 week, he's supposed to get Harry Kane and then get Ronaldo, and he ended up with nobody. He ended up with nothing. Salt. Somehow that side is a bomb squad, right? So they're still beating people. But Cristiano Ronaldo going back to the Premier League, it's like we were talking about Messi going to PSG the other day and men all of a sudden watching French football. English Premier League going to be the highest viewed sports thing ever, with Ronaldo going back there every single game because he explosive, he good, the Man U men miss him and all that kind of thing, you know what I mean? There's a whole man-love affair going on. But given that his independence, I just want to acknowledge the greatest scorer in the history of Man United. For all the Man U fans who forget and they're all moist in the mangina this morning, I just want to remind you that the greatest scorer in Man U history is from right here, the little Tobago boy, you know what I mean? Well, look at that up wherever they want and say whatever they want about that. All right, time to talk about the top 5 patriotic, nation building, independence. How else to label this? Let me just call it the top 5 patriotic songs of all time in Trinidad, right? They have quite a few songs that deserve honorable mention, right? A few of them are playing this episode, and some that just really remind me of what Trinidad is about. And you know, you feel a sense of Trinbagonianness when you hear these songs, right? So they have some honorable mentions because Machel have one with I Love My Country, and I always remember Natasha Wilson with Sweet TNT. I probably remember them songs because they were both like children's songs when I was a child, so those stand out to me for obvious reasons. But I have a top 5 here, and I'm going from number 5 and come up during. I want one more honourable mention is a song by the name of Independence Calypso by Lord Briner. Go and find that on your own, right, and listen to that. But I have number 5 as not the most popular song, but a song by the name of Discover Both of Us by Machel Baker. Just listen to the lyrics, right?
As you know it, stands out most in the Caribbean. And if you don't want to believe it, well, friends, let me make you understand. At Jamaica, Grenada, Barbados, St. Vincent, just to name a few. When visitors pass through Trinbago, this is what they'll tell you. They tell you, come discover one of us. Come discover both of us, and why not come and discover all of us? For together we aspire, and together we achieve. The way we live is hard for them to believe. Maybe you're forgetting the different forts that were left behind. Now they are historic points of interest until the end of time. Remember the Spanish, the British, the French, and the Dutch. They all left their homes just to come to this wonderful island to make it their own. So let me tell you, come discover one of us, and discover both of us, and why not come and discover all of us? Every day I sing and praise of our natural ways, where every creed and race find always an equal place. Oh, yeah, yeah. We survive by agriculture, arts and craft, and environment too. With sugar, with oil, with coconut water, a living for me and you. The Buku Reef, the Nile and Pool, the Pitch Lake, the coconut trees, the bird sanctuary. These are some of the interesting things visitors will come here to see. So let me tell you, come discover one of us, and discover both of us. So why not come and discover all of us? Oh, yo, yo. Side by side we stand in this land of true integration, outstretching a friendly hand to those who visit our land.
So listen, it's Machel Baker is the singer of the song. The song long, right? I can't play the whole song, but I have it as my number 5. I'm particularly and especially biased to songs that mention both Trinidad and Tobago. I don't find nation building songs should just say Trini and Trinidad and talk about Trinidad. So I like songs where, and you hear the man cover the food, he cover the festivals, he cover the places, every little element of culture is a part of that song. So it's not the most popular one, but I definitely had that as my number 5. Number 4 on the list. Well, I ain't have to tell you who is the singer, right? When you hear the voice, you're gonna know.
The whole population of our little nation is not
A lot.
but oh, what a mixture of races and culture. That's
What we've got.
still no major of race, color, religion, or finance. It's amazing to you, I'm sure. We didn't get independence before, which means
Trinidad and Tobago
we'll always live on.
Yes. Colonialism gone. Our nation is born.
Everybody, we will follow our leaders. They always do their best. Oh yes, we want to achieve. We're going to aspire.
We want to be a success. Yes.
It is a miracle all these different people can dwell so well. You see, we are educated to love and forget hatred. You know it's so. You people who are foreign, I got a message to greet you when you go in.
Yes.
Spread the word anywhere you pass. Tell the world there's a modern nation at last, which means
Trinidad and Tobago
we'll always live on.
colonialism gone. Our nation is born.
We go follow our leaders. They always do their best. We want to achieve. I myself to aspire. We want to be a success. Bam, 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 bam. The revenue we make from oil and the pitch lake is great, but wait, we got cocoa and copra, banana and sugar, coconut, citrus.
Yes.
We may be small, but we wealthy. Pound for pound, we'll beat New York City. We got
Yes.
beaches and hotels built by Hilton. Our nation is second to anyone. Where you talking? Trinidad and Tobago, we'll always live on. Colonialism gone, our nation is born. We go follow our leaders. They always do their best. In order to achieve, you got to aspire, and we brought to be a success. You may not believe this, but we didn't achieve this with floods of blood. It is leaders like Butler, Cipriani, and the doctor, they fight for what is right. So now I'm congratulating all our leaders from the present back to the beginning. They have fought, now the battle is won. Thanks for a good job, and well done, everybody.
Yes. Trinidad and Tobago
we'll always live on. Colonialism gone, our nation is born. We go follow our leaders. They always do their best. In order to achieve, I know we got to aspire, and we're bound to be a success.
Hey, if you know water in your eye yet, you ain't from here, no, but let me put water in your eye, no? Number 3.
Islands in the sun.
What 2 songs could come better than this, boy?
Islands in the fun. Welcome, welcome one and all to the land of death. Trinity to the bone, Trinity to the bone. When they come to Bacchanal, well, they can't beat we have Trinity to the bone, Trinity to the bone. Look, sweet woman parade abundantly. The brethren they full of energy. Some people say God is a Trinity. Paradise are not convincingly. God gave us a spirit fiery. But nothing in the world will bother we. But look at smart man gone with big money. We still come up and mash up the party. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love up this country. Sweet, sweet TNT. No place in this world I'd rather be. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love up my country. Sweet, sweet TNT. All this sugar can't be good for me. Oh, from Toko to Caroni. Oh, Marabal to San Souci. Oh, from Scarborough to Kokori. Oh, profiling on Frederick Street. Sweet, sweet tea.
Listen, you see this next line is one of the greatest lines I hear in our song. It's dedicated to everybody who is listening to this podcast who are abroad and love their home. See this line here?
Sweet, sweet TNT. All the sugar can be good for me. So much years I spent on Friday, me call longing to me home. Trinity to the bone, Trinity to the bone.
Lord.
Lord, I pray that some sweet day I will no longer have to roam. Trinity to the bone, Trinity to the bone. The problems we have are plain to see. We prove we can stand the scrutiny. All I know that true democracy. How we vote is not how we party. There's no place like home, some people say. Though some have to leave to make their way. But in your hearts I know their destiny. To come home and big up the country. Sweet, sweet TNT. Lord, how I love of this country. Sweet, sweet TNT. No place in this world I'd rather be. Sweet, sweet TNT. Lord, how I love of my country. Sweet, sweet TNT. All this sugar can be good for me.
Listen, the way Carl Jacobs is singing this, is pour water in your eye, you know. Every time you hear this, when you hear the way the man sing that.
Matlock down to Port of Spain. Yeah, yeah. We play in my son or rain. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love of my country. Sweet, sweet TNT. No place in this world I'd rather be. Style just change, man rearrange, and that gun clear. Cause nothing can compare to a Trinity rising. Oh no, no. Oh, nothing can compare to a Trinity rising. No, 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 no. As crazy as we might seem to be, we still fight to be a family. Indian, African, or a Chinese, Syrian, French, Creole, or Portuguese. We blessed with a spirit fiery. Some people say God is a Trinity. Sweet woman parade abundantly. Now the problem is plain to see. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love of my country. Sweet, sweet TNT. There's no place on earth I'd rather be. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love of my country. Sweet, sweet TNT. All this sugar can be good for me. Westmore into those heroes.
Hey, listen, that song every time, boy, that song is for water in your eye, you know. I can't imagine what it feel like. The longest I ever live outside of Trinidad is about 2 or 3 years, maybe two years and some change. And I was in Jamaica, I was close to home. So, you see this podcast, it made me learn something. Because one of the things that was most annoying to me is people who live abroad, who leave Trinidad and then they start to talk with accent. And they started, the little dialect gets sweet wherever it is. So they started, right mate, as they leave Trinidad. You know what I mean? And the other thing that used to annoy me is people who live abroad, who go on away to study or to work or to live or do whatever, you know, and come back home and find problems with Trinidad. And you hear them talking about Trinidad bad. Like in another room, I used to salute them as Aquila and the squad who was on Clubhouse. I used to listen to them every morning, a show called Morning After on Clubhouse at 10 o'clock every morning. And there's a bunch of New York, well, most people sound like they're from New York, but it's Trinidadians who live in abroad. And I guess through this podcast and through listening to more people and getting feedback from people who live abroad who listen to this, I start to understand a little more what it's like. You know, you walk in a man's shoe, you start to feel what the man feels. And I realized that the people not any less Trinidadian because they pick up some twang and thing from which part they live in, or they bad talk any place. It's better they want to see the place get better because people who live in abroad might be some of the most passionate people about our culture. And that's something I take for granted for a long time. So before I go on to number 2 and number 1, it's our next song I just want to dedicate to the people who is Trinidadians in their heart and soul and living far away. Like when I see the places that people listening to this podcast, I can't imagine what it's like to be in them places, and this is your little slice of home once a week. So this one is for you.
come back home. I come back to stay. I must see my way. I went away looking for another home. Tried to run away from my destiny. In another world, a world that was strange to me. Trying to change myself, change my identity. But strong is the power of love and the power of freedom and the power of blackness fills my heart, yeah. Bam, 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 yeah. Strong is the power of love and the power of freedom and the power of blackness fills my heart, yeah. Bam, 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 I went away, I leave and I come back home. I come back to stay. I must see my way. I went away. I leave and I come back home. I come back to stay. I must see my way.
Hey, I can't play that for too long, you know, man. Listen, all right, let me get to number 2 and number 1, right? Because I ain't want to delay. Number 2. Anybody else, plenty of people ask, I should say, will say this is the greatest one ever written, right? I don't have it as the greatest, but I don't want to discount any of it. All of it on the list is great to me. But you see, there's another song that encapsulates so much parts of the culture that it's hard to deny. Some kind of maracan. Trinidad is my land, and of it I am proud and glad. But I can't understand why some people just talk it bad.
But I know,
but all of them we're running them out. Don't know what they're talking about. They just paint you black every day. And the right things they will never say, like our sportsmen.
Being rated among the best.
Our scholars have sit and pass every test.
And put us right alongside the rest. But then our pitch lake is the greatest one of its kind.
Our sugar and oil is really refined.
So you see, friends, this is a real thing on no man's mind. They just talk some nonsense,
and they know what they're doing it for. But so much violence, man, you will swear that we fight in war.
Of course, we have we delinquents to face.
Just like any other place.
Look, the things that I say about here
is really too much for me to bear. Because my people are daily making progress without any kind of stupidness. And in this way we must gain success.
For when we move in,
we all move as one body. No bickering between you and me. Our policy stands for racial equality.
Now when a stranger spending
a little time on this lovely isle,
every day you see him, he always have a hearty smile. When his time is up to depart,
he was there with pride and heart. I'll be back, you could bet your life.
And if I can't come, I will send my wife. And then he'll tell you
that he really wants her to come
to drink some rum and have plenty fun
in this great island in the sun.
For Trinidadian,
as foreigners to recall,
it doesn't matter whether big or small, or if you're rich or poor, friends, we cater for one and all. So all of them we're talking,
they either drunk or they're staring mad. Or maybe they forget it, Mr. Universe belongs to Trinidad.
And yet, we have men of talent and skill, with high hopes of improving still. And if you think all this is a lie,
the mighty sniper will tell you why.
Now our steel band is the best talent in this world. By
My calypsos are stories are told, with its rhythm to touch your soul. So Trinidad, this lovely land of my book, small but overwhelming in bulk. And as you know, Carnival is the greatest frolic on earth.
So number 2, right, is by Mighty Sniper. One of the Portrait of Trinidad. You're supposed to know that, right? But I believe that somebody had sing a version of it and adding a Tobago verse in it. But I mean, Portrait of Trinidad is up there with not just one of the best patriotic songs written, but one of the best songs of all time. And you're supposed to feel that connection to your homeland or connection to Trinidad when you hear Portrait at any time. And they do have a word wasted in that song. So, I mean, a real story from beginning to end. But my number 1 song, and if you're listening to this podcast, you know what this song is already, right? But you have to be listening to it. If you know what this song is coming already, then you're listening to this podcast over a year. I thank you very much, and congratulations for making a year with me. But there's another song again that's make me feel a kind of way because of how this singer put together these lyrics. And everything, every line in this song, I just feel she's singing about me. Yes. Gosh. Listen to lyrics, huh? You have to listen every piece. I can't stop listening. You have to listen to all the lyrics in this song. So we go come here and we go bad talk people every week, you know. We go make joke and we go make thing whatever happening in the country we talk about. But you know what we ain't gonna do?
They say my country so stressful, so tense. With race, hate, young jailbait, too much violence. Girl, back up and go. These sweet Trinbago, I tell them no way. No way. How the people small-minded, macocious and loud. Of bubble and scandal, they boastful and proud. Yet somehow I see all this foolery as window dressing. That's not a blessing. You see, I just see Takarikyu, peas, rice and cascado, blue crab and kalalu. Me never just give me not leaving. Not leaving. The neighbors drink so deep and freedom don't come cheap. Where else in the world you know? Sweet fun and calypso, people just overflow 2 days in the street. Not leaving. Not leaving. It's here where come see me, it's here I go there. I see a people creative who must overcome. Make magic from old steel, from rusty old drum. So why should I fear? Some tears here and there. I tell them no way. No way. Camaraderie so special, like natural instinct. They meet you by the river. Please come take a drink. Outspoken but kind, no silent but mine. So forget New York and all the old talk. You see, I just drink some Babash brew, punching rum and Mountain Dew. A hot plate of bellow to me, my they just give me not leaving. So deep and freedom no come cheap. Where else in the world you know? Jump high then wind down low. And if you don't get on so then watch your series. Not leaving. Not leaving. It's here where come see me. It's here I go there.
That close. Not leaving. Not leaving. The bacon shop.
for tat.
The ritual of carnival.
I'm leaving. Soca chutney bacchanal.
I wake up one morning and before I stretch,
It's fry bacon doubles with nostril don't catch.
and therefore my view, an ocean so blue, I'm going nowhere. Nowhere. Hummingbirds and blackbirds that sing in the trees, Chaponia and spices that waft in the breeze, while meat by the crop, a cootie and lapping forest grazing.
It's so amazing.
You see, I just watch a football match with Trinity and Yankee clash.
So much for me pussy lash.
My head still dizzy.
Not leaving. People sing so deep and freedom do come cheap.
Where else in the world you know milk and the honey flow?
Yes.
Patrons just bend down low
And drink from a drain. Not leaving.
It's here we conceive me.
It's here I go dead.
Bob wire, roll wire, we living in jail. But somehow I know peace will prevail. As folks will recall, our problems are small and going nowhere. Nowhere. The heart of my people is of solid gold. Like soca, they move you with rhythm and soul. So who want to leave? Because they believe that how they're easy.
I say they crazy.
You see, I just see curry
Peas, rice and cascadoo.
blue crab and galaloo. My neighbor just give me not leaving.
Leaving.
My neighbor's drink so deep
And freedom no come cheap.
where else in the world you know sweet pan and calypso? People just overflow
2 days in the street.
not leaving.
If you do get to do that again, boy.
Here we conceive me. It's here I go there.
The aroma rockas bay. Savannah where children play.
Not leaving.
The sorrel, the moby back. The corn soup, the bacon chop. The oval,
Fancy Lara Bat.
the pecan, the tit for tat. The ritual of carnival.
Leaving. Soca chutney bacchanal.
So that's my number one song, of course, dedicated to everybody who never leave and all the people who leave but they never leave. That is something I now learn. I never know that was a thing before. I thought I'd gone on an abandoned wheel. But through this little journey I'm making here, I realized plenty people never leave. Now, this episode is finished. So you could put on your phone, you could press pause, you could turn off the YouTube right now. But plenty of these songs get me emotional in this episode. And it just have one song I want to close off the episode on. And I playing this song from a man who I call the greatest lyricist in music. Definitely the greatest lyricist in Calypso. And all those songs that I choose in the top 5 is songs that is about Trinidad and Tobago. So it's on the culture and everything. But because of what this podcast means to me and what I try to come here and do with Calypso every week to shed some light on some of the Calypsos and some to pay attention to. I wanted to end this Independence episode as I done a bleeding red, I feeling it, you know what I mean? I'm loving this Independence Day and I'm happy for this Independence Day. One short of pension age. I just want to play this song for all the Calypso lovers. Again, lyrics from beginning to the end of this song. Take this in for me. Yes?
Can you hear a distant drum bouncing on the laughter of a melody? Does it tell you that your heart is a fire? Oh yeah. And does it tell you that your pain is a liar? Oh yeah. Does it wash away all your unlovely? Well, are you ready for a brand new discovery? Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. Yeah, yeah. Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. I'm singing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. Singing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. I say that I am the seed of the growling tiger now. I got to sing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. It is a living vibration, rooted deep within my Caribbean belly. Lyrics to make a politician cringe, or turn a woman's body into jelly. Shake it, mama, shake it, mama. It is a sweet soca music, Calypso. They could have never refuse it, Calypso. It make you shake like a shango now, Calypso. Why it is you shaking, you don't know, that's Calypso. Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. Yeah, yeah. Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. Singing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. Singing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. I say that I am the seed of Attila now. I'm like a honey. I got to sing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. Oh, yeah. I can still hear lion roar through Greenwich Village, while executor kills them dead at the ribbon blue. Lord Invader conquers Berlin, but their hearts this time. And Lord Kitchener making old London feel so new. Beginner and terror too. Fitzroy Coleman fingers dancing on the front. And when you think that he through, he has not nothing yet. Carnegie Hall, graced by the presence of Sparrow. And when Slinger done with the tail, hear them shouting, don't go, Sparrow, don't go. Why? Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. Yeah, yeah. Calypso, 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 music. Singing, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. Singing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. I say that I am the seed of this spider now. I wanna born, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. I wanna rise from the time the first bamboo cut, and we drag it down from up in the sentence hills. From the day we push and we'll leave the band, the red jamming start, and today we jamming still creating rhythm that could be deadly like Henry. Only this time, this lyric and the melody was sending their soul to the boundaries. From the bongo drum to the roller guitar. Well, ever since Massa come and she make bassa bassa, we jamming it. Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. Yeah, yeah. Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. Singing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso.
Yeah, so it's just one of them that make me feel very, very, very Trinidadian. You might have your own ones, you know, so I eager to hear what people top 5 lists might sound like, or even what's the songs that mightn't be about the country itself or patriotism, but it just make you feel like Trinity, make you feel like you're home. Especially some of the more up-to-date ones, you know. I like to hear what it is people like out there. And just as a record, right, David Rudder sang that song in Calypso Monarch and didn't win Calypso Monarch, yeah? He was the defending champion to become 86. He had won with the Hammer. What was the 2 songs he won with in 86, boy? Let me check this quick, eh? All this is really not part of this episode, you know, but we done here already. Calypso Monarch winners. 86 he went with Hammer. I want to say Hammer and Bahia Gala, but I feel that wrong. 1986. Where is it? Yeah, Bahia Gala and Hammer, yeah. And then he lost, failed to defend the crown. And you know who's the man who beat him? A man who we played earlier in this episode, Black Stalin. Black Stalin's song was Hail Mr. Padmaker and Bun Them. Peter Waite. I don't think nothing would have beat that year. But Calypso, oh man. It's amazing that would be a song that could come second in any kind of competition. But yeah, just a little nugget, a little tidbit before we go by. You got to hear what's people's favorite songs, or what is that song, especially for the people who not home. What is that song is listen to get back a little slice of home, boy. But that's it. Happy Independence Day. Salute to everybody. Enjoy the Independence Day. Whether you're in Trinidad and it's a holiday and you're just taking it easy and you're kicking back, or you're abroad and you have to go to work with a little flag. You know, always only put flag on the car when you reach outside. Home here, nobody down a flag on the car, you know. But drive with your flag with pride, man. Trinidad and Tobago independence. 59 years, regardless of what it is going wrong. Remember this episode. There are plenty things could happen. Plenty could be wrong. There are plenty places where plenty things better. But we are plenty to be grateful for too. So I will see you guys next week. Enjoy the holiday. Bye.